Well, yeah, more video was released over the weekend. Police turning loose some of the video recorded by body cameras worn by the police officers at the shooting of Keith Scott. Also, more dash cam video was turned loose, and family members say there may be, in fact, more cell phone video that was recorded at that shooting a week ago tomorrow. Still a dispute as to whether Keith Scott was holding a gun or holding a book at the time. The police insist it was a gun. A weapon that was found there at the scene was tested, found to have the DNA and fingerprints of Keith Scott. Family still says they're not convinced.
Yeah, the police have said that they've done a number of independent investigations, and that it is unequivocal that he had a gun, and they are standing by their side of the story.
Right. The Chief Kurt Putney is emphatic when he says that the shooting was justified, that the police officer who pulled the trigger was justified in doing so because he felt threatened by this man who had a gun. Family still says you don't see a gun, and in fact, the chief agrees that you don't see that gun in this latest video that's been released. There may be other video out there, McGraw, recorded either by police cameras or by civilians with cell phones.
Yeah. Jim Ryan, where does this go from here? Are the protesters, were there any over the weekend?
There were demonstrations over the weekend, including one outside Bank of America Stadium, where the Carolina Panthers and Minnesota Vikings were playing. About 100 protesters out there. One man was taken into custody. He had a gun in a bag along with a loaded magazine, a full loaded magazine with that weapon. He was taken into custody. They're not quite sure what he intended to do with it. Maybe more demonstrations, but they've been peaceful enough that the mayor has decided to rescind the overnight curfew that had been put into place late last week, McGraw.
Yeah. More back to this video and this debate over whether or not there was or wasn't a gun. We've seen this in St. Louis where people will defend to the hilt their point of view. Is there any type of definitive evidence that the police have or the other side have to sort of prove beyond a shadow of a doubt to the other side if there was or wasn't a gun?
It's an interesting point. I think even the presence of a gun there at the scene, and you see in still pictures, images that do depict a handgun there, then the police take it and test it and find that it has the DNA and fingerprints of Keith Scott on it. I think even that isn't enough. And even with video evidence, some people are going to say, well, we think this may have been planted or something. So I just don't know if you can satisfy everybody, McGraw, that even video evidence produced in 2016 is enough to say that the facts are the facts.
We certainly do live in a strange world. Jim Ryan, ABC News correspondent on the latest in Charlotte. Jim, thanks for checking in.
Thanks, McGraw.
624, Big 550.